有。听到我讲话。start 了。start 啦。Okay. Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm Kylie, clinical psychologist from Hospital Tunku Aziza. And how's everyone doing today? Mother's Day has just passed last weekend. I hope you had a very good Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there. And today is also Nurses Day. So happy nurses to all nurses. So MCO has been going on for about 2 months now. How's all the parents coping up there? I'm sure that you get to spend more time with your children, but at the same time it must be very frustrating as well, because you spend more time with them, they might have behaviors and might be agitated, and that testing your patience. But I guess it's a mix of both, that you are having fun, but at the same time feeling impatient at times. So that brings us to our topic today, which is parenting special needs during this pandemic. So what are the new norms actually that we need to include in our daily routine now? Washing hands, wearing masks, temperature check, social distancing, and like waiting in very, very long lines, like going for appointment in hospital or going to the supermarket to buy food. So given all these circumstances, what are the things that we can do and tips that we can teach our children to adapt to this new norm? So first of all, we can try to create a structure and routine at home. Some special needs children are not as flexible with changes. Although children are home every day, so they are at home, they don't have to go to school, but it's important for us to maintain a similar routine, such as sleeping and waking up at the same time, eating meals consistently like breakfast, lunch, dinner, eating at the same times, schedule learning time. Like a lot of schools and centers out there now are providing online learning, so it's important for us to set specific learning times for them. And of course, schedule some fun activities with your children and some exercises, which I can cover more about it later. So by having all this structure, you can see like this example in this picture, like routine before the bedtime is that you have to put on pajamas first, you use the toilet, then you can incorporate washing hands inside, so they become a routine for them. Then you can brush teeth and drink water, read some stories, go to bed and sleep. So by having visual schedules, it's a more structured environment for the children, and they are more comfortable with the changes being at home. We can also include like hand washing and wearing masks at home, so we can practice the skills needed before we send them back to the school. So as you can see, this is a visual schedule that you can teach your children to wash your hands. Washing hands is a very complicated task because it's not just open a tap and off it. So by having 6 taps here, you can teach your children to turn off the tap, put some soap, scrub hands, rinse, turn the tap off, and dry the hands. So the children know the specific steps needed without just turning on and turning off by washing them for 1 second. So reminders can be placed next to the sink so that the child can refer to it every time without you needing to prompt them every time. Okay, We can also use visual reminders like this to remind them to wash their hands when they play with the pets, before they eat, after you go to the bathroom, or after they cough or sneeze. Visual reminders like that can be placed at common areas at home so that they will remind themselves whenever they look at this visual schedule. But once hand washing like this and even wearing masks become a habit and a regular part of their day, so the kids will eventually practice it even after they return to the school. Okay, so next we will cover about waiting. Waiting is a very abstract concept, as we can see, because especially autism children, they don't understand what is waiting, and it's often very difficult to understand, like, how long do I have to wait, where do I have to wait, and why do I have to wait. So a wait card like this in the picture can actually teach our children the concept of waiting, like waiting in lines for social distancing before I want to go and buy my snack. So instead of telling them like no, you are just telling them to wait. This card in their hand become a very tangible signal that they will eventually get what they want. Like, I'm not telling you no, but you just have to wait in line. Thus, with this practice, this routine can become more reassuring for them, for the children to be more compliant to wait in lines. Okay, the next one will be, I understand that many of schools and centers are having Zoom online sessions now. So to communicate with their friends, to catch up with their studies at school. So video conferencing is a very fun way for children to keep in touch with their friends and peers. But many children out there may not know the rules to be respectful during online learning session, as this is a very new experience for them. So a Zoom ground rule like this can be used to teach children on what is expected of them. Like, whenever the teacher is talking, I cannot talk and I have to mute myself. I have to remember to turn on the video, be on time, prepare my materials beforehand, and it's good for adults to be present. So we encourage children to do the Zoom classes in the common area like living room or even at the kitchen so that you can look at them. And always teach them to be respectful so that not everyone will take turns to talk on the Zoom classes. By having this kind of Zoom ground rules, children will understand better like what is expected of them. So maybe it will help them to sit nicely at the table instead of running around during Zoom classes. So due to this movement control order, I understand that adults are having lots of changes, like we don't get to go out so frequently, we have to stay at home and work, but the changes apply to children as well, because they feel that I'm being locked out at home now, and I cannot go out to play with my friends, I'm so bored at home, which they might feel very lonely and lack of social interaction with others. So by having this structured schedule and some visual reminders, it will help them to understand better what is expected of them, and they might probably behave better at home. Okay, so next thing, breaking the skills down. It's very important for us to break the skills down, which I have covered just now. Like, order washing hands is something very important and very simple, but for special needs children, it might be very difficult because they don't understand. Actually, washing hands requires a lot of steps. So as I mentioned just now, we can teach them 6 simple steps, but at the same time, we can incorporate using prompts. There are different kind of prompts that we can use to teach our children. So by the first thing, we can use like physical prompting. We can guide the child's hand to turn on the tap and then prompt them with our hand over hand prompt to teach them what is expected to do. But if by the time they are able to get the idea, we can move on to like modeling prompts. So it's like a parent demonstrate how to scrub their hands by scrubbing their hands in front of their child so that they can learn and see and do it together with them. Once the child master it, we can do like verbal prompts. Verbal prompts can be like telling specifically what to do. Okay, just tell them, okay, turn on the tap, get the soap, you have scrub now, can rinse, and turn the tap off. And the less intrusive one will be gesture prompts, like you can just point to the soap there, and I'll point to the tap without needing to tell them. But it's very important for us to teach them step by step by breaking the skills down and until they mastered the skill in total. How about wearing masks? I'm sure parents are like puzzled, how do I get my children to wear masks? Because a lot of children who has issues with sensory processing might find it very, very difficult to get their children to wear masks. So we can also try to break the skill down like this. So like having mask in front of the child but not touching it first. And then we can touch the mask to the child's arm and then eventually move to the neck. And then slowly we can move to the chin or mouth. And then wearing the mask for 5 seconds and 10 seconds, and the duration can go on longer. So we do this by slowly increasing the proximity and duration of the mask on each children's face. So by breaking the skills down, we can also pair it with positive reinforcement. So the goals are very simple, as we can see during this pandemic. We want them to be more comfortable in wearing masks, and we want them to wash their hands frequently, and maybe before they go anywhere they have to get their temperature checked. But how do we encourage them to do it more is by having positive reinforcement. So children can be rewarded immediately with a strong reinforcer they enjoy. Like you can practice this and then praise them for their effort and being cooperative. Like, good job, you cooperate and you're willing to wear the mask for 5 minutes today. Then after that we can include their favorite snack, like toys, even hugs for them, like anything that they prefer. The goal is for children to be comfortable with all these changes, but be very mindful to we try to reinforce every small step. Like just now when we break the step down, each step they are able to comply and follow, we can reinforce instead of just reinforcing the final result. Okay, next. As we are all very familiar with social stories, because social stories help us to teach our children about new changes and what is expected of them, like in this current pandemic. Like, why is it needed for us to wear masks, and why is it needed for us to wash our hands frequently? So I have an example of social stories like this. It's a very general one that teach kids like everyone gets sick sometimes. The coronavirus makes people sick. It is caused by germs, but germs are very, very tiny and we cannot see them. Germs can make people feel sick. When people get sick with the virus, they usually feel bad. They feel like they have a cold or a flu, they might have a fever, they might have problems with coughing or breathing. Many people are getting sick from coronavirus. So this is a very general one, basic, so our children can understand better what is coronavirus. There's also another one which I found that teach about social distancing. So this says like when lots of people are sick, social distancing can help me to stay healthy. Social distancing means staying away from busy places and other people. Activities, events, or school may be cancelled to keep people healthy. So I may not be able to do my normal activities. I may need to stay at home so I can stay healthy. Or I may get upset or frustrated about not being able to do my normal activities. But it will be okay, and I can find other fun things to do at home. It may take a few weeks before I can go back to my normal activities. Actually, there are many social stories out there. You don't have to create it by yourself. You just have to Google social stories like social distancing, washing hands, wearing masks, and there are even YouTube social stories. So for kids that are not able to read, you can just play the YouTube video for them to watch a social story. Okay, next one. It's also very important for us to offer choice to our children because children actually wants to make some decision, but as parents we often want the best for our children because we think that we make the best choice, but it doesn't allow them to feel empowered or prepare them for adulthood, because the power of a small choice can go a very long way. Choices can be as simple as allowing the child to choose the design or color of the face mask. Like they can choose, they prefer pink color, blue color, green color. We try to engage them as much as possible in the decision making process so they feel more excited to be in the process and want to wear the mask more. They can even choose the scent of the soap, what kind of smell that you want, or the type of soap that they prefer for hand washing. By doing steps like this, they can build more confidence and they can continue to build positive decision making skills, as well as teaching them the sense of responsibility. Additionally, the children will feel like their opinions and thoughts are being valued because my parents, like my mommy, recognize and acknowledge what I say. So by offering choices, we can give children a sense of more of a responsibility and teaching them how to make decisions wisely. So how about having fun as children? Not only like adults, children actually like fun. Like I know working from home is very difficult for parents because you have to do both. You have to work and you have to take care of your children. But how about have like at least 30 minutes if we are able to spend a one-on-one attention with our child, because by doing so they might reduce the attention seeking behaviors, which my colleague Yvonne have shared earlier about behaviors. So how to make it fun, like hygiene? We can make a 20-second song for hand washing. You can and your children can create a song, and then whenever you try to wash the hands, both of you can sing together. And then you can add the actions in as well, like how you want to scrub your hand, how to wash the front, wash the back. And then we can also make a game to see how few times we touch our faces. Like you can count for each other. So the aim is to don't touch our face, and the person who touch the face less can get a reward after that. So we incorporate fun elements into the new norms that are like wearing masks and washing hands. So what are the other activities that we can do at home? Especially like with special needs children, it's found that sensory beans by using rice, beans, pasta, and like flour is very helpful for them. We can place treasures in it, and children have to touch the rice and beans to find the treasure. By doing this, it is good for them to calm their nervous system and bringing a sense of peace to the children. Like we can do other games like memory game, snakes and ladders, Simon Says, can teach skills like turn taking, counting, and following directions. While toys like Play-Doh can teach them about the creativity. It's also very sensory for the children as they like to touch the texture of the Play-Doh. And arts and craft is very good for the children to build their fine motor skills. So if you're able to do so at least half an hour or 20 minutes with your children, I'm sure your children will really appreciate that. This may reduce like inappropriate behaviors because they know that at least my mommy is very busy at work, she still plays with me. Okay, so next. So what happens if your child like is very stressed with the pandemic, like they will cry randomly or very anxious because they feel when adults around me are anxious as well, children will feel so. So we can actually validate their emotions. So we acknowledge their feelings at the moment, but not the behavior. Like example, you can validate the child that is sad or angry without validating their behavior of hitting. So you can say, I can see how angry you are right now. A lot of people feel scared or people are very sad, but it makes sense that you are feeling that way. So by having this list like this, it will actually teach children what are the emotions like, because emotion is a very abstract concept. So we teach our children this, how happy it is, how angry, upset, or surprised. So we can print something like this and teach our children when they are calm, so that they can express themselves when they are very frustrated. But after the breakdown, what do you do then? We can have a coping plan with our child. Like we can write down the warning signs, the emotions, like before the breakdown, such as maybe your breath is getting faster, your heart rate is increasing, or you have palpitations. So we teach children to uh, understand and identify these signals before they are at the stage of breaking down. And we also write down what are the steps for them to help to seek support when needed. So they can create their own calm down kit like this. There are sensory objects that appeal to them. Let them decide, which I mentioned just now. They can have choices on what are the things that ease their nerve the most. Can have like stress relief balloons, fidget spinner, like magic sand, stress ball, slime, coloring books, bubble timer. So all these your children can pick by themselves, so that the more they customize their own kit, the better for them to show that they take ownership of it. The kit can guide children through tantrums, panic attack, and managing their mood. Eventually, this self-regulation practice can become a part of their life and daily routine. And one final part, which I would like to say, that is actually parents. You are very important because you are a role model for your child. If you practice keeping safe distance and hygiene, like you don't go out unnecessarily and you wash your hands frequently, your child will learn from you. Because our children, they look at us and see us as a model at home. So when you treat others with compassion, especially those who are sick or vulnerable during this pandemic, like there are a lot of people are not able to work now because of the pandemic. You can donate money or donate food to them. Your children will know that, and they might have that in their heart and do the same as well. And it's very important to take good care of yourself so you can support your children. You can practice self-care skills, like relaxation techniques, which my colleagues have shared earlier, like Hazel or Sarah. They have teach about how to do deep breathing, grounding, mindfulness techniques, which you can try to listen and learn, so that you can calm yourself better when you feel frustrated or impatient. But remember that you are not alone in this, because many people have the same fear as us. So find someone who you can talk to about how you are feeling, and avoid social media that makes you feel very panicked, because sometimes there are very uh, nervousing or anxiety provoking news that make you even anxious. So when your children have to adjust to a new routine, or they are sensing anxiety around them, it is very normal that their progress may regress. But try not to overwhelm yourself by attempting to recreate all the service that your children are attending, like tuitions or therapy or like school teachers, because it's very difficult for you to do so at home. So you can just do the best with what you can and what materials you have. Most children are resilient and they will be okay. So by the end of each day, take a minute to think about the day. Tell your children about one positive or fun thing they did. But it's very important to praise yourself for what you did well today. Because actually you are a star for your children, just that you never notice or realize about this. So here is a poster to show you that what I have covered just now. So as I mentioned earlier, we have to create a structure and new routine, like visual schedule, visual reminders to remind our children. Then we can break the skills down, like teaching them small steps, increase the proximity and duration of masks or hand washing and lining up. And after that, we reinforce their behavior. So we have to immediately, and we set clear goals so that the child understands what is expected of them. Next, we can also use social stories. It must be short and simple, so they are able to learn socially appropriate behaviors. Next, we can also offer choices. So you include them in the decision-making process. The child might feel more happy that they are involved in the process, and it helps them to build confidence. Make it fun as well, because children love fun. So we include hand washing, like wearing masks, so we can make songs or games into it, and it's very important for us to spend quality time with our children. Next one will be validate emotions, which I mentioned earlier. So we teach them emotions, and we name and identify the emotions. And then the coping plan is to calm down kid, and what are the warning signs. And the last part, which I mentioned, is about role modeling, and take good care of yourself, so that we can set realistic expectations and don't expect too much from our children. So I guess that is mainly the presentation I have. I will go through the questions now and see. I find my child having difficulties to concentrate on the task. They understand how to do it, but they get distracted to do them. What can I do to help? So actually, it's very common for children to lose attention and concentration, because especially children, it's very difficult for them to 5 minutes at a table. So it's very important for us to break down the steps. Like, we give them 2 minutes of table time. After that, you can have 1 minute of break, and we can keep increasing them by proximity. But by training that, they will be able to focus better. Like, I have to spend 2 minutes at table, then after that I can have my break. Then after that we increase it to 4 minutes. After that we increase it to 5 minutes. And gradually over time, their attention span is able to improve. My boy keep tapping his tummy. Any reason? This one we have to understand better. Why is your boy actually tapping the tummy? Like, is there any reasons? The behavior behind? So I have to understand better. Like, why is my boy keep tapping his tummy? Is he feeling anxious, or is he feeling hungry? So by identifying the behavior at the first place, it will help you with the intervention after that. But if it's like a attention seeking behavior, we can try to redirect them to something else. Like, instead of tapping tummy, I can redirect them to playing with a toy car or playing with a stress ball to redirect their attention. So let's see. Another question by Muhammad. I understand because my child is often very hyperactive. Does that mean that he has ADHD or ADD? This is very difficult to say by just answering through a webinar. Children, is very normal for them to be hyperactive, because children likes to play, like to run and having fun. But if you find symptoms of them having inattention, like they hard to sit still, or they fidget a lot, they run around, you may try to bring them to see a clinical psychologist or psychiatry in any hospital department for an assessment so that we can know better like if your child has ADHD or is it just a normal behavior. Okay, so I guess that's all for the questions for today. Thank you everyone for your kind attention. It has been a wonderful time able to share with all of you, and I hope some of you are able to get some tips from this webinar today. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we have another webinar, and we will be doing this for the whole month, so please stay tuned for more webinars this week. Okay, bye.